Volatility has been spiking up just a bit over the past couple of days. I wanted to talk about my volatility trading strategies. Specifically, I'm looking at UVXY stock versus how it's moving because of volatility in the S&P 500. The VIX has popped higher. What happens to UVXY stock within that? And what is my volatility trading strategy moving forward? Now, I think that we're probably going to see a big move come Friday, so I'm going to front run what's happening on Friday. We get non-farm payrolls on Friday. My expectation is that it's really kind of a big disappointment in the sense that we're not going to see the economy growing more and more as it has been. We've seen a slowdown. The stock market will probably sell off. On Friday, there was a sell-off. We had economic data came out on Friday. Today, Monday, another sell-off, but then both Friday and today rallying right back upward. So what goes on? Once we see that we're getting employment numbers coming in softer than expected, keep in mind the Federal Reserve is maintaining higher interest rates for longer, won't move until after the presidential election, and that's probably going to do some damage. The economy itself is not going to necessarily go into recession as much as we're going to see a slowdown in the rate of growth, which means stocks will see a slowdown in their pace. A lot of those stock traders have been chasing after a very high rate of growth. That's going away. There will be selling. UVXY stock moves higher because of that. That's the basis of my volatility trading strategy. Let's jump in. Here's a good look at the VIX itself. This is the 4-hour bar chart. Trending below 12 is pretty low. Popping up to 14 was a pretty decent move, but there's a possibility that we'll see a bigger spike forward. How this trades versus the S&P 500. Now, the S&P 500, since I put this chart together, the S&P 500 for the day reversed and went flat for the day. So it was down considerably. This is actually SPY stock that I'm looking at right now. So there's a pretty decent sell-off, and there was actually, like I said in the intro, there was a solid sell-off after the economic data on Friday, then a rally, a big rally at the very end of the day. This morning, we saw selling as well, and then I just checked the market. Where exactly did it close? It closed flat for the day, which was a bit surprising on my part. Regardless, that's what's really driving the VIX. So if we see a move lower, this is where I'm going to be stepping in with my trade on UVXY, my volatility trading strategy. What I'll be doing is selling puts. Now, I have the luxury of doing that because of my account size and activity in there. I'm going to be selling puts against UVXY with the expectation that they expire worthless. You got to go with some size on there because the market knows it's likely not to move that much lower. So I have to do ratios where I might sell 5 puts. I will be buying calls against UVXY probably about a month out going into this Friday. The rationale is that the economy is slowing down, but the Federal Reserve can't lower interest rates. Now, here's a look at the U.S. 10-year Treasury yield. Yields sold off today. This was a flight to quality because we woke up Monday morning and started selling off in the stock market. Everybody rushed into bonds. As price moves higher, yield goes lower. It's a safe haven move. And we see that all the time. Whenever there's some solid selling going on, that you'll see investors rushing into U.S. government treasuries. Now, I'm holding TLT stocks. I'm getting out of equities and have been out of equities for a while. I'm not buying any new positions. We're at an all-time high. The Federal Reserve will lower interest rates after they get a clear indication that inflation is going to drop below 2%. The very earliest possible time they can do that is after the presidential election in November. So consumers who are already feeling the pinch of higher interest rates are going to have to feel that pinch much longer. And because of that, because inflation isn't trending as rapidly as the Federal Reserve wants to, down to the 2% level, what you'll see is information that we continue to get that the consumer is tapped out, employment numbers are going to be declining, but the Federal Reserve won't lower interest rates. That's why the stock market will probably rock and move downward. And this is why I'm playing the move I'm playing against UVXY stock. Here's a good look at, this is the ProShares Trust Ultra VIX UVXY. I'm looking at buying into, say, 28 calls. I like to get a nice gap, trying to sell 25 puts versus buying the 28 calls. My expectation going into Friday that we see a spike higher in volatility. Now, when I do this ratio, very likely what I bring in by selling those puts is probably the exact same price I'll be paying for the calls. So if I'm wrong, I usually don't care. It's sort of like, well, I'm sort of rolling the dice for free, and if there's a big spike up in volatility, I make money. If there's not a big spike upward in volatility, I pretty much walk away without taking much in way of losses, that I don't really have that big a risk. I don't expect volatility to sink through the ground with a big move lower in UVXY or the VIX itself. That's my volatility trading strategy that I'll put on risk reversals, and I always do it just before an economic data point comes out, a key one. Friday is definitely a key one. We had one come out last week as well. The information is consistent. Stock market isn't really paying it. They're paying attention. They just don't believe it. The turnaround in the stock market told me that this is a market that's ripe to be sold quickly because the market keeps getting it wrong. And they're going to continue to get it wrong. You'll see these big spikes. I'll take that money and I'll run fast. That's how I usually play this. That's how my volatility trading strategy is really kind of laid out like that. I do options, I get in, and I get out fast because the market is consistently saying, but we don't care. And they keep pushing stocks higher. They just did it again today. So on Friday, if we get a big spike up, I'll sell off that call, let the puts expire worthless, money. Make sure to hit that like and follow button. We'll see you in the next video.